Hey people, welcome back for another edition of the Jagged Edge. You got Ian here along with Chris.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on, people? Here on this weekend, well into February. I can't say well into, we're still in the early end of it, but as always,
Still learning the calendar. That's
I'm still learning it. I got to take my time with these things. You can't. Please don't rush this. All right, this is sensitive. This is sensitive.
It's a little complicated. You're coordinating numbers with different.
Yeah,
days
man,
of the
I
week.
can't.
Yeah,
it's hard.
There's between 28 to 31 different numbers depending on the month, but there's always the 7 same days, and so that gets a little confusing.
It's that part. It's that part that throws me off. But thanks. This is why I have this guy here. He understands.
Ironically, I am the one that does the scheduling too. So
Yeah. Man, speaking of scheduling, that's something we were hacking through a little bit before this, just with the views between gaming, between movies, between the shows you want to review and everything else coming up. This is going to be a whole lot of fun, and
Yep.
Again, there's still a little bit extra work to do beforehand to make sure we've got the rest of the groundwork before that. But please, if you've been listening, you've been hanging with us this long, stay tuned. Plenty more. Whatever your bend is, chances are we're going to have it. If you've enjoyed listening to a lot of the stuff we cover here on Jagged Edge, just a ballpark look at this, we're going to be taking that in all kinds of different directions. There'll be the gaming side to it, of course there'll be the movie side to it, and getting more in depth with shows specifically. So we're still going to keep with our weekly, but if there's any major franchise or something else you've been looking into, tune on in to us, see what we got to say about it. Much appreciate it.
all right, yeah, definitely, and please subscribe. We need those. We need some subscriptions here, people.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Please do. But yeah, lots of stuff going on. It all starts this month.
And that's right at the top of our chart with the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer.
This was awesome.
Yes.
That's all we need to say. Let's move on. No.
I've heard you being good with time, man, but never that fast. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I had no idea this was coming out. It dropped this week, and I've watched it probably 50 times.
Yeah.
Well, probably not 50, but probably legitimately around 20. It's fun.
It is.
It's so much fun. The whole thing is like, hey, here's 2 minutes of fun.
It's a really cool follow-up to both the story we had built up in Ant-Man, what we had built up in Captain America, the events of Civil War, and now we get to see some of the follow-up for that. And it only makes sense. This is part of the larger road leading up to Infinity Wars. I think it's a little difficult to do any of these movies of just a one-off, have something as epic as the Avengers 1 and 2, and just sort of zone everything out until we hit Infinity War. Marvel has done a really masterful job of keeping all these characters really fresh, and more importantly, I think keeping the stories well. Even the lower points, or the ones that were, at least I felt, more duds. I know both of us sort of agree about Thor 2 didn't hit us as much as like Thor Ragnarok and others did. Even then, they've kept the pace and they managed to keep this momentum going, and just to make this stuff fun. Like Ant-Man was like one of the last heroes possibly on my mind, and Marvel brought it around in a way where I actually enjoy it. So,
well, you see, I've said this before in the past. That Ant-Man actually makes a lot of sense to me. He's one of the characters and one of the superheroes that really, his abilities and stuff don't come off very well on the written or the drawn page, so to speak. But in a movie setting, motion pictures and such, that's the character can shine. And we've seen that he's been such a great addition. Oh yeah. At this point he's only been in 2 movies, but in those 2 movies, his movie and then Civil War. But we're getting the Wasp now. Yep. We're getting some answers. What happened after Civil War? This has been something that we've been wondering about for all these characters. Interesting though. Infinity War comes out in May. This comes out in July. Yeah. So. It makes you kind of wonder when does this actually take place? Yeah, it does. Or like how far back time-wise, are we jumping, or how close are we associating events? I'd imagine this should be right in the doorstep of what we're
what we're about to hit. It's sort of hard to, I think, to be out of that kind of mindset when you have an event this big incoming.
Right.
So I expect to be on the heels. Also, just I'm going to be looking out for nuggets of some other little things. Any hints of by the time, of course, by this point, we would have seen Black Panther, already reviewed that. That'll be in the can. What will be different or not different? Too.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first post Infinity War movie, but it looks like they're going to try to avoid this taking place after. That's been one of the bigger speculations, and it's my understanding that while they're in the credits and they're listed, most of the listings for Infinity War are the same listings as far as stars and such for Avengers 4. And whatever name that's going to be. So do we get to see these characters? It was my understanding that we were not going to see much, if any, of Ant-Man or the Wasp in Avengers 3. Really, really interesting. We really don't get any answer on that, because at the same time, anything cataclysmic that happens, like as I've said, I'm speculating that New York's going to get trashed. But, if they're on the other side of the country, that doesn't mean that everything that we saw in the trailer can't happen after or during.
Too true.
So, it's, if he destroys Thanos destroys the whole world, then we know this probably happened before that. So, but yeah, no, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this one.
Cool. Same here. All right.
Okay.
There's a rumor in the round for something beginning in Han, ending in Solo, maybe. Idea is that we might be getting a trailer for this coming up pretty soon here, Sunday or Monday. We don't have anything confirmed on the books
confirmed
release, but now keep in mind we are right at the door of the Super Bowl here. So hey, maybe this is just an announcement trailer for something. It could, well be some other franchise or something else we're looking at, but worth keeping an eye on, especially with how much contention has been around this, how much upheaval and post episode 9. Episode 8. I knew I was going to goof that. Post episode 8.
What are you talking about? Star Wars controversy? What are you talking about?
Yeah, why? There was no problem. None.
A little bit.
But the thing we do know out of this, there was a little bit of Star Wars news reported out of a screenshot that we got. Now, this was you noted this was a ticketing service.
One Iota.
One Iota was to post on their website. This was stating that Monday's edition of Good Morning America will have an exclusive debut of the trailer. So, hey, you heard it here.
Yeah, Star Wars stuff reported that they caught a screenshot of it. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is we're going to get some kind of teaser for the trailer Sunday night, telling you to tune in to Good Morning America on Monday, and check out the trailer. That's what I think we're going to get.
Cool.
But it's about time. That movie's going to come out in like 4 months.
Yeah, you would think for a Star Wars film there would be more build. I mean, do you remember when...
That's because normally for Star Wars films there is more of a build. But the last 3 have gotten trailers and teasers about a year out.
I was going to say with Rogue One compared to this, I mean, the build seems like night and day.
Yeah, that was only 7-8 months, but that was no, it was even more than that. The Force Awakens came out, and I think they gave it a couple months, and then they started dropping teasers and stuff for Rogue One. So yeah, this is, and a lot of the reason for this is, I mean, they haven't even shown us an official screenshot. They've shown us nothing about this movie, and that's, there was all the controversy with the directors, and they brought in Ron Howard, and a lot of rumors that internally people are saying, hey, this looks kind of shitty. This was kind of a bad idea. Why did we think that we could just recast Han Solo? No one ever said you could. I don't understand why you thought it, but you know what? I'm hopeful for this. So I want to go and I want to have a good time, especially because the last time I went to a Star Wars movie was not such a good time. It was a very conflicted time. I enjoyed aspects of that movie, but at the same time, I detest others.
Right.
So if we're gonna get a fun Han Solo, Chewbacca prequel story, Star Wars romp, then I'm actually kind of looking forward to that because. The last one was really just a big pile of shit. So, it's like what I said to a friend of mine. We were debating on this over social media. He's like, "It's such a beautiful movie." I'm like, yeah, it's very pretty, but it's a pretty turd. It's a very shiny, pretty turd, but it's still a turd. And maybe this ends up being a pretty turd too. I don't know, but I'm hoping not. But maybe they're gonna go. Maybe they're gonna go 0 for 2 here.
Regardless, I think you need a Star Wars home run quick.
Yes. Disney needs they need some of that Disney magic right now, actually.
Good deal. Into the DC realm. Now, hey, this caught me. This caught me by surprise because I actually didn't have any optics on this, but turns out Supes is going to be seen in the DCEU next to Shazam.
Yeah, that's when we're going to see him next, which is still about over a year off. But yeah, that's what an inside source over at what are they called? Revenge of the Fans? Yeah, which I've never heard of. They say they have an exclusive inside source saying that Superman will be in Shazam. Also, Dwayne Johnson, who's going to be playing Black Adam, also getting his own movie for Black Adam, is saying that he's adamant on Superman being in his movie, which makes sense. I mean, these characters, both Shazam and Black Adam, are basically Superman clones. I mean, they're not, but they're basically giant, superpowered, invincible characters. So that kind of stands for reason. Finally on that, though, one of the things that Warner Brothers actually caught on to through Justice League and through test audiences for Justice League is that everybody's coming out of there saying, hey, actually, I want some more Superman.
Yeah, I do.
I do, too.
I can stand it, and I'm glad to see DC getting at least an idea of some priority of who to zoom in on. I mean, out of anyone in the DC universe to really focus stories on. I mean, come on, Superman. I mean, he is at the center of about everything I can at least remember reading my short time. I mean, from Infinite Crisis to however you want to spin it. As long as you got if Kryptonian exists in that dimension, somehow, some way, he's likely going to have an influence over it. So I will admit, it does feel really strange having, at least in my opinion, a lot of the DC legacy. When I think DC, the high-end movies, I automatically think of the Nolan films. And I find that weird that I think of Batman before I think of Superman. Now, they said I enjoyed Man of Steel. I've enjoyed Superman's appearances, but I'd like to be in the mode going forward when I think of DC, I'm thinking of these Superman movies. So. Yeah,
well, I mean, he really was a fun part of that movie, too. I mean, both when he comes back. By the way, spoilers, if it wasn't obvious, he comes back from the dead, if he was ever really dead. It kind of sucks. One of the things that we did lose from Justice League was that he did have the black suit. I don't think he had the mullet,
right?
But there were scenes shot of the black suit and everything. Kind of sucks that we didn't get that. But but he was a lot of fun, especially when he does come back and he's Superman again, and fighting. What was his name? What was the villain?
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf, when he's fighting him, and that was a lot of fun. And the after credit scene with him and Flash was probably the best part of that movie.
Love that.
Yeah. So hey, check that out. You in your big pile of stuff there, you had something nice. You had a shiny turd.
Oh man. Well,
so shine up that turd real nice and give him to us again.
I didn't know you were pulling Dwayne Johnson lines. Cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I didn't mean to, but yeah, you're right.
It's been a while, man. This is back in the era of give me a hell yeah, Undertaker, and I can go on and on.
90s wrestling. Now, I wish we had a show back then. Oh my god, the fun we could have. Hey, I watched the Monday Night Wars.
I did too. Monday Night Raw. Did they still do? Was it SmackDown Thursdays or was that a thing later?
No, SmackDown started on Thursdays.
Right. I mean,
WCW came out with Thunder.
Right.
And then WWF at the time was like, well, we can't have people watching your stuff, so we're going to just put this one right on top of yours.
Yeah, I just kept thinking, if it was it always, like early on, was it just Raw and then Raw and SmackDown together as the years went on? Or was it
No, it's just Raw.
It was just Raw. Okay,
In fact, I
thought
think
so.
Raw. Jeez, I could get this wrong. I got a 50-50 chance on this. No, in fact, I think WCW did the first Monday night show, and then WWF came out with Raw the next week, or it was the other way around. I really can't remember.
Right.
But it was one or the other, and so then after that, they'd had those shows going continuously, and then WCW was doing well for a while, and they came out with Thunder. So
There you have it. Good times, though.
oh, that's definitely the summarized version.
Before I leave that, and I will leave it at that. How many WrestleManias did you catch?
What do you mean? Like, how many did I actually watch?
Yeah.
Oh, all of them until I was done.
All of them.
Yeah, I've barely seen any of them in the last 10 years or so. But yeah, prior to that, and maybe even 15 years prior to that, yeah, it was WrestleMania every year. I mean, my brothers and I loved wrestling. We watched all the wrestling.
Hardcore.
Especially, back in the 80s, it was all about WWF. Now, my other brothers, they ended up bigger wrestling fans. In fact, one of my brothers was a professional wrestler on the indie circuit.
Whoa.
Yeah. He did that for a couple of years. So wrestling was big. So, I mean, which WrestleManias? Like, all of them. Which WrestleManias did we watch? We watched them all.
Man, it was always a select event because in my house, my folks are always real specific about what was going to be on like pay-per-view, or if I said, oh man, there's going to be something on pay-per-view, like they were always kind of cautious about, all right, what are you tuning into, how long are you going to be watching, and everything else. I think they watched whatever came through our house, pretty careful. But man, it was only ever a couple WrestleManias for me. One I caught in '99. I was overseas. I still remember that one because I had 3 or 4 friends that were really into it as well, and we all came over and watched it together. And then I caught one before I'd moved. I think 3 years beforehand, but good times.
No, man, no, we watched them all. I mean, before pay-per-view, it was closed circuit. We'd actually go to a theater and watch it closed circuit live. Some of my favorite memories of that, though, the first Survivor Series where they introduced the Undertaker and then he just cleaned house. But the first Royal Rumble, which actually wasn't a pay-per-view, was on USA Television. It was a 20-man Royal Rumble. Hacksaw Jim Duggan won, and that guy's still going.
Man, I was about to say, I thought that name sounded familiar.
Yeah, no, that was the guy with the flag and the 2x4.
Yeah.
Still going, even through cancer. He's still, God bless him.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Well, we ain't got wrestling spinoffs in the works, but we do have a Men in the Black. Wow, did I say Men in the Black? Men in Black spinoff.
Yeah, I didn't do that. That's not a broware situation like last week.
Look, bro.
Broware.
The Men in Black spinoff is set to get a director. This is a report from Deadline that Gary Gray, I think he did Straight Outta Compton. Also, the Fate of the Furious. Fate of the Furious was help me out here.
Last one.
Last one, 6, 7. What's it?
I think it's 7.
7, yeah.
I don't know. It's one of them.
Anyway, Gary Gray will be directing, and also Sony hopes that this will be the big relaunch, return to the franchise.
I think it's 8.
I wouldn't be surprised if you're right, because 7 seems super current, but I swear it was one after.
Yeah.
Also,
this is the last one.
Whatever the last one was, whatever it was, help us out. If it was 8, so be it. I know there hasn't been 9 yet, though. Know that.
No.
So,
no, they'll be in space for that one. Vin Diesel's character will just be driving his car through space.
Just get Nas Rocket feeling. Go have fun with that one.
They would do it too.
They would.
They'd find a way.
They would. They would.
And he's still just gonna be wearing the tank top.
It's not a Fast and Furious movie without the wife beater.
And I almost want wings to come out of underneath the car, but I almost don't at the same time. No. In fact, no wings. Just that car.
There
just
you
that
go.
Magical car driving through space.
That's somewhere on Snakes on a Plane level, but I take it.
I would if I
I'd take
actually
it.
saw that in a trailer, I would go and see that. I would be like, I have got to see how they did that. That's
I love it, man.
I would go watch that one. I would pay money for that one.
You know, you say that, but I'll throw this. I'm just going to throw this tidbit in of a hilarious possibility. Now, space jumping is a thing, has been a thing, still is. Would
Not
not.
with like airplanes.
No, human jumps.
Yeah, no, but they take airplanes up there.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree. There's some different. There's a couple of different ways to do that. It's not one specific set method, but if human jumps are a thing, Fast and Furious should find a way to warp it, make it crazier, give us a subspace jump or something. I don't know,
Sure.
something ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. No, because when I think of vehicles that can go up into the and leave the Earth's atmosphere, I think of 1970 Beast cars, and I mean they always had the power to do that.
I'm thinking monster trucks more.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
I want to see it, make it happen.
Right
I
on.
want to see Vin Diesel in space with just a tank top, fighting aliens.
Ends on Mars. Toretto family ends up colonizing there, sets up a new home.
Yeah.
Set up for number 10.
Well, they could put it in this movie. They could put it in the Men in Black spin-off. Hey, what do you think of Men in Black?
Man, I always had fun with this one.
Yeah? Did you like all three?
I 1 and 2 more so. I will never forget the Roach. The Roach is what.
Oh, that was crazy.
Oh, it was. But that made Men in Black for me. It's just that awkward way he just spins around and like crooks his neck. Sugar water. I'm never gonna forget that.
I like the first one. The other two really are. In fact, I know 2 is just.
Yeah, I think Men in Black is a classic case of having a fun idea, but as you go on with the sequels and whatnot, you kind of lag behind a bit, and you don't translate that idea into the next, iteration. It gets sort of muddled, confused, and loses some of the fun and magic. I don't know if that was a symptom of trying to add like a lot of complexity, like layer up themes, like the whole memory thing, and trading that for just the pure fun that you had in Men in Black 1. What I loved about the first one, you had the concept. You were thrown right into this world, some super bizarre cases, and then by the end of that, a planetary threat. But it worked, and it was fun, and at any point it didn't get too tied up over its own feet. So
yeah. First one was good. First one was almost a classic. In fact,
I agree.
I'm kind of teetering on whether it's a classic or not. For me personally, it probably is a classic, but the other two were just horrible. Especially 2. 2 was really bad.
Yeah, take that noisy cricket and go home.
Yeah. Oh, so we're going to get more.
That's fair.
Well, Sony's been trying to do this for a little while. In fact, at one point there was going to be a Men in Black / 21 Jump Street hybrid movie.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Glad that didn't happen.
I don't know.
But even that being said, I'm willing to give Men in Black another shake. So
well, I mean, so this is F. Gary Gray, like you said, it's Straight Outta Compton and The Fate of the Furious. The script has been written by Iron Man script writers Matt Holloway and Art Markham. None of this screams comedy.
No.
We're going to see it next year, though, I guess. But maybe they're going to go with a serious tone, which I don't know if that works or not. Especially, I mean, they're not rebooting. This is a continuation of the franchise.
Right.
If they were rebooting, then that would be one thing. But this is, sure.
This could be a classic case where writers have a real chance to show their chops beyond what we know them for. And this happens sometimes. You carve out a hollow for yourself is doing one film or something that really hits off, but you're sort of associated with that genre. Hey, for all I know, maybe they do it right. So cool. I'll check it out. If it doesn't look too crazy, let's keep an eye on it. Let's just keep an eye on it. And I won't say that yet.
Well, we're probably still going to be doing this next year, so we'll probably review it. But yeah,
cool. All right. The other side of the movie coin is Super Mario Brothers to get an animated movie. It's about time.
It is. It really is.
It's about time this happened. When I was first reading about this, please don't let it be another live action. Don't let it be another live action. And thank goodness
I
it's
almost
not.
want that though.
No, I don't. I don't at all.
That's one of the times where you're not watching the popcorn for the entertainment. You're not watching. You're eating the popcorn not because it's entertainment, but because it's shocking. It's like, no, yeah, they went there. In fact, not only should it be a live action movie, they should bring back the original actors.
Love it.
That would be so great. At least have them do the voice act. No, I'm joking,
man.
obviously. No, this came out Thursday. I thought this was really cool. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, really awesome. This is a partnership with Illuminated Entertainment. They worked on Despicable Me.
Is that what that says?
Despicable Me.
It's supposed to be despicable.
Despicable. The Secret Life of Pets. This is going to be distributed by Universal. It turns out the original Mario creator, I love this, Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto will be a producer on the film as well. No other information is out right now.
Hey, this is the thing.
Awesome. And I honestly wouldn't see a major Mario project like this getting greenlit without him these days. He has kept really, really close to Mario. Unlike some of the others, he's been vocal. I don't know if you got to see the Nintendo retrospective. He had a really good interview where he was talking about game design pre-90s and the types of technologies they had available when you were working with coding and building levels, how they have the stage mapped out on like a huge piece of graph paper, and how they translate that into game and everything. But he's always been really vocal about his series, the franchise, Mario's development and everything, more so than some of the other big ones, like Metroid and things like that. So,
dude, on Monday I delved into a level of hardcore nerdism that I rarely touch.
Where'd you go?
I don't even know how it ended up on my page for YouTube, but there was a video for Super Mario Brothers called 4-2. And do you know the importance of 4-2 in the original Super Mario Brothers?
As in World 4-2, right?
Yeah, World 4-2.
Now I'm trying to recall. This was the Piranha thing, was it? Or was it not?
This is a speed run thing. This is all about
all about the warp pots and then jumping through to the
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
So it was this 20-minute video. And they're talking about, it's all about this huge controversy about shaving off like a second.
That's the speedrunner's goal, though, man. That's gold.
Oh my God.
That is gold.
It just makes me, if I ever had a speedrunner in front of me for Super Mario Brothers and they got to that, when they got to 4-2, they went down the pipe, I just want to knock the controller out of their hand. It's like, Jesus, settle down.
You be that guy. We often don't talk about it on this show, but ACGDQ, Games Done Quick, they do charities and everything yearly, normally during the summer season, for everything from Doom to original Mario, Metroid games. Chances are, if you're thinking about an old game that could be sped run, maybe, they'll do it.
Well, my problem overall with this comes not really with speedrunners, but there's like two different parts of this conversation. There's the part where, speedrunning typically is fine, but you can't hack anything. You can't use any glitches in the game or anything. That I think is fine. But the majority of this video, the majority of this conversation actually came to, what glitches exist in the game so I can just exploit those and shave off seconds.
I see.
That's kind of BS.
Interesting angle. I a lot of the times the arguments that I hear are if you don't state that you're using like a TAS, like a tool assisted run, or not, and you make a false claim. Hey, I got X time, without tools where you really did use tools. Whereas as to the glitches and whatnot, or the possible exploit, some of those things are actually the key to speeding through. Hey, look, I'll give you one from Mega Man X2. There were a couple of insane jump tricks to do to get some of the pieces of armor really early, and once you did do that, actually using those to shave, those extra few seconds off of a level, they end up critical. But are you saying that do you have an issue with every time that a glitch is used to speed up something? Do you think it should only be done in straight up play or what?
I mean, well, first, I'm not a huge fan of speedruns to begin with, so I'm
Right.
kind of speaking out of my ass on this. But from watching the video and everything, it just it kind of lost me. It's like, because it's all about using a glitch in the game of how many frames that
Yeah.
Mario is in there, and using a certain glitch in part of the wall. But most of it was like, well, okay, so in World 4-2, you have to pop the block to make the vine go up so you can get to the warp zones.
Mhm.
But due to the lack of memory in the game, most of this circled around a glitch that they could use where they didn't have to use the vine. Depending on the frame rate and where Mario was in the screen, they could go down one of the other pipes that's currently in that level, and that would take them to the warp zone. And so the whole thing turned out to be about a huge glitch,
Right.
and a huge cheat. And I mean, and again, I'm not a fan of speedruns at all. For me, it was just kind of like, all right, well, but none of you guys are doing anything that was supposed to be done in the game, so what's it matter?
Oh man.
I guess it's where I was. As far as any kind of speedruns or anything, something, if you're an old Resident Evil fan like myself, Resident Evil 2 required you to beat the different versions of the game, because there's 4 versions, beat them quickly enough to where you could get to the secret characters and stuff.
Right.
That's something I used to do. But, yeah, for me, it was just kind of like, yeah, but you're not supposed to be doing any of this stuff. So...
Oh man.
And it's all for a second. It's all for 1 freaking second.
Yep. There's some pretty crazy ones with Doom, where you can literally like fly across areas you'd never be able to jump, or like do like a semi warp, or like go through a wall and stuff like that. It shaves off seconds. And
Whatever.
I love it. I'm glad you got to see it.
Well, you might as well just start using a Game Shark. I mean,
yeah,
really.
I get it. I think there's a subtle difference. A Game Shark, you're deliberately reaching in to bend something, whereas and it's such a almost tangible gray area.
That's the same thing, because you're intentionally reaching in to bend. That's a glitch that's in the game. I understand that there's probably a difference that's seen between how the game was released and then altering it after, but that's kind of the same thing when you're still
No, it is.
Finding these glitches in the game and then using them.
The key here is between abusing an exploit and creating an exploit. I think this is why games these days are very careful not to really distinguish between the language, especially if you play MMOs and stuff like that. Look, it's like you do either one. If you sit here and try to abuse bugs to gain certain advantages, or if you try to create one yourself to start bending rules, when it's the same thing, you get the same punishment.
Yeah.
So
all that being said, if these people are actually using this to do charities for people, then I'm all for it. But generally speaking, for myself personally, it was like, you guys are breaking the game for a second. Settle down.
I love it. I love it. I love that people push like that for something seems so insignificant. It's just that, but they do it. Love it. Love it.
All
right. Good stuff.
But yeah, we'll have a movie sometime in the next couple of years.
Can't wait.
That'd be funny if they do that in the game. Speed run, he glitches something that just walks through a wall.
Some become cult classics.
And 0.00001% of the people watching it understand what just happened in life. Whatever.
Oh man. Esoteric gaming. Love it. Moving on to Xbox Game Pass. So this is hit now. We've had reactions from both players and retailers. This was from Microsoft expanding the Xbox Game Pass subscription service. This was basically expanded to include new exclusive games to be accessible through the service the same day as release. Microsoft had a statement on their website, quote, "Today we're excited to announce plans for a major expansion to Xbox Game Pass that underscores our commitment to deliver our fans the ultimate gaming subscription service. Moving forward, we plan to release all Xbox One exclusive games from Microsoft Studios into Xbox Game Pass on the same date as their global release. This means that when the sea of Thieves launches on March 20th. It will be included in Xbox Game Pass to all members. They also said this could expand to PC ports as well. So,
yeah,
it's been across the board. Some retailers are pretty cheesed off. In fact, some of the I think the smaller retail stores are even discounting, carrying anything else Xbox related. There's been talk of a long time, I think, of Microsoft trying to move things more and more towards this one-point access digital service. I'd even argue that there's been some hostility to physical copies of things. This comes back down to that great spoof video Sony did a couple of E3s ago.
Gaming companies have been trying to find a way around physical copies of games for a while now.
Yeah.
Which I'm not a fan of. Them trying to do that.
Same.
I still like to get a physical copy of my game.
Right. Even if you're downloading stuff in your system, you pre-install. There is something about having that disc in your hand. That's how I play this. Not any network issue or whatever else. It's just nice. Sometimes being able to pop a disc in and play offline.
Well, this really comes down. This is all very similar to, late '90s, early 2000s, and Napster.
Yeah.
This is very similar, and everybody was just downloading music, and everybody, the music companies were like, well, we're not going to see any of that money, blah, 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 blah. And, come to find out that actually it was doing really good for them for promotion, and a lot of people were still going out and buying music because for the very same reason they wanted their own copy. They wanted a physical copy. I mean, we've kind of moved beyond that at this point as far as technology, but it feels very similar to that. And, when my friends would borrow me a game when I was a kid, I would play it, and if I loved it, I would go out and I'd buy it.
Right.
If I didn't like it, or it was really ridiculously easy, and I played through it, I just gave it back to them. Whatever. This all feels very much the same. This feels like video game companies, or in this case, Microsoft, trying to find a way to make money off of what they probably feel is an exploit by the fans, by the players, to try to play these games without them paying for it.
Right.
Which, I'm speaking in generalizations, but in some cases that's probably true.
Right.
But I would have to say as a whole it's probably not.
Normally, I mean, there's always, I think, an instinct to take your backlog or to take your catalog in such a way where, you're not necessarily going and making a billion new games, but you're making new ways to charge for that service or to make that accessible. So, I mean, it's trading that instantaneousness, that accessibility for, hey, you can do that for this cost as long as you line up with this service, so on and so forth. So it's a way to push a model. Obviously, you have to ask how tangible, sustainable is that for gamers? How people actually take to it? Is that something you can actually do / run away with long term?
Well, it's my understanding that PlayStation has been doing something similar to this for a long time. I guess the big difference here is Xbox is now doing it with all their exclusive new releases, which is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
So how do you feel about this? I'm kind of torn on it.
Yeah, it's an in-between now. And this comes from someone who, myself, I've never been much of an Xbox exclusive person. I was there on the front lines, for the Halo craze when that first started. The original Xbox and whatnot. I do remember doing a lot of multiplayer and being part of that. But honestly, I'm really in the same boat. On the one hand, I'm always understanding and for newer titles, new releases, getting exposure and being able to have multiple ways to access that, being able to get a hold of that content, not being limited. I think. The trouble you post in the same hand is I wish there was more of a sort of survivy relationship between mainline Microsoft or Sony companies and then the retailers actually selling this. The last thing I would want, I even though everything's so digital, I would hate to see a lot of the brick and mortar spots completely go under with there being no way to gain access to a physical copy of something. There needs to be a fine balance between the two and still incentive to go out and get actual hard editions. One way I don't know if this will be a deal breaker in it, but we talked about this beforehand. I think you're going to start seeing the collector's editions interjected in this a bit. There's differences today between physical collector's editions and digital collector's editions, as far as what you get in terms of season passes and things like that, or actual things like small art books or anniversary editions of certain things. And I mean, I've tried both for over the years for a lot of PlayStation games. I can name a few. You know, I know the Street Fighters had a couple collections. Blaze Blue had a really cool. It was the second game. The Continuum Shift had and Chrono Phantasma, actually the third. They both had good collectors, but there is that I still came to a choice. I could do the digital edition and get like season passes, access to like all the characters and things like that, and maybe some online artworks or like, you know, some in-game unlocks there and some codes. Or I could actually get the whole cool part of getting something in my hands with the textile feel, or like maybe you're picking up something that has like a limited edition statue if you're into making collector's items like that. That may very well be the deciding factor in that, and I think that's going to be up to, you know, as far as the devs themselves and the companies and stuff is coming out of. So, end of the day, I don't want to see brick and mortar die. I think there needs to be a balance. I don't think everything needs to be digitized, and I actually encourage incentives like what we're seeing on digital collectors and physical collectors to sort of push that decision or help influence it. I think that can keep it competitive.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing when I ask myself about this Game Pass, I mean, I don't own an Xbox. I don't plan on owning an Xbox for this generation. We'll see for next generation. You know, if they're going to spy on me on that,
yeah, no thanks.
But you know, so when I think about this, you know, Xbox Game Pass, I don't have an Xbox. Do I care? I don't care. Now, there's definitely some objective thinking that needs to happen. I'll get to that in a second. But when they say, well, we might come out with this for the PC too, then I'm like,
Yeah.
Now I have one of those, and I very much like it. But would I pay $10 a month? I mean, the only game that has come out so far that I really care about that's exclusive on Xbox is Cuphead, which I haven't bought yet. $20, but it's already out for PC. I think you can get it off of Steam, and it's $20, and so I don't need this. So I guess so I don't think it's going to do much to bring in new people. Right. And so that's what I'm looking at, because I would be a prospective new person. Right. But it's not doing much for me. So I guess for me, because this feels like a potentially huge change. Right. It kind of has that feel, but I think at the end of the day, it's just kind of a dud. Right. You know, so not being your typical Xbox fan, I took to the social medias, and I was checking out what they had, what people Xbox fans had to say about it. Most of them were kind of lukewarm on it. They're like, this is mostly crappy games that I really don't have much of an interest in, or these are older games. I don't know if it was lost on them that they'll only have to pay $10 a month for all the brand new games. Right. But there were some people like, this is awesome. There were even a few people that said, well, I'm switching over for this. This is why I'm going to get an Xbox now. But most of them were kind of like, yeah. They were just like, meh, whatever, shrug. I'm like, what? I was surprised. I'm like, really? I mean, if now PlayStation does offer services similar to this, but especially when looking at backwards compatibility, which is something that both of them work on. In fact, all three of the major ones work on that, and putting out past games and such from previous systems and whatever. I would love that. I mean, I went out even near the end of the PS3 life cycle. I went out because I found, not even looking, I found a first gen PS3 with backwards compatibility that
hardcore
worked. And so I bought it because I'm like, there were a number of reasons, but mainly this needs to happen. I will support backwards compatibility. Because that should be in there. In fact, most of the time it's already in the system. It's just been locked. Right. The ability exists. So But I mean, I guess for me, I was kind of looking at it from, well, I mean, is that not huge to be able to play all the Gears of Wars and Halos and all? I guess not.
Man,
And so I don't know. This feels like it just didn't get. I'm sure some people are going to love it.
Oh yeah.
But it feels to me like, hey, this was a huge move, and now it's kind of like, well, now you're stuck giving your brand new releases to $10 a month to a handful of people.
Yeah.
Because you said you're going to do it.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it feels like. You said you were going to do this, and some people are going to do it. But now you're stuck because it didn't explode like you thought it would. That's just how it feels like to me.
And I wonder if it's a symptom of series attachment or lack of. You know, one thing I've noticed, even despite how crazy popular Halo was, I guess is to a degree, it hasn't endeared as staunchly as things like GoldenEye have. Or maybe as strong as like Mario Kart or other things that people really, really attach themselves to as part of the genre. You know, it's sort of some of the major Xbox releases I've seen, and you know, correct me if I'm wrong. By all means, you know, anybody chip in on this. I actually want to hear it. But Gears of War, Halo, a lot of those. I mean, they're there, but they don't seem to endear. They make the hit. They make the sales for the years they're out, but there's something about a lot of these major Xbox titles that don't seem to get in the halls of, you know, the discussion you start having about like Chrono Trigger or, you know, really, really long-lasting games like that. I don't know what it is, and they just seem kind of fleeting. I don't know if it's an overdrive of shooters or whatever else, but yeah.
No, you know, I think at this point, I mean, part of why I guess I'm confused about this is, I mean, at this point in the life cycle of this generation of consoles, I mean, these companies are working on the next gen already.
Yep.
We're a couple years away from at least announcements, if not releases, and this seems kind of like an odd move at this point. You know, in large part, the fate has been decided. You know, when you think about the past gen, you do count the Xbox 360 as the winner, although at the end of it, because of games like The Last of Us, the PlayStation did catch up.
Yes, it did.
But generally speaking, Xbox 360 is seen as the winner of the last gen. And, you know, I guess they could try to hope for something like that, but I don't know if you give that away for $10 a month on a subscription. So I don't know. At first when I heard this move, I was like, whoa. But because I'm waiting for Microsoft to do something. We had a conversation about this back in November when we had Isaac on,
right?
And we were talking about the fate of what's going to happen. I'm like, look, you know, just because of the amount of real estate that Microsoft has with both PCs and a console, I don't count them out for anything,
right?
And I thought maybe that was this kind of felt like a much broader move, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I think they're gonna lose money.
Yeah. No, well said. Makes sense, and interestingly enough, you know, it's just something that just is not, you know, catching traction with the Xbox base. So I'm sure they'll monitor that, and you know, I mean, and build off it for as far as what they want to do with their suites or their classics, or maybe just leave some of those where they are.
Well, and maybe they do make money off of it, but I think overall this isn't going to do much. I mean, I guess for myself, thinking from a consumer's perspective of a parent who does not give a damn about this, and you know, they're buying an Xbox for their kid, and they hear about this, and you know, they're at the store, they're at GameStop, and they hear about this, and they're going to buy a used PS or a used Xbox One, and they tell them, hey, there's a subscription that you can get too, which makes me wonder if now there's going to be some incentives for GameStops and such to push this product, but it makes me wonder if they're actually going to, because generally speaking, retailers aren't a huge fan of this because you're giving consumers less of a reason to go into the store.
Right.
But you know, so they push this, and then the parents like, oh yeah, I'll buy them a 3-month subscription or a 6-month subscription, and of, you know, whatever, give them this, and you know, happy birthday, and go play your game. But I think overall parents aren't going to care about this or even catch the concept of what's going on, and they may not want to keep a yearly subscription going to Xbox Game Pass anyways. Besides that, they already have to pay for the online access for Xbox to play online.
Right.
So
you know, you highlighted the key as far as at least what I feel. I'm willing to I think for a quality service, pay a small sub. But when you start talking about paying a sub within a sub, potentially within a sub, at some point, that's an issue.
I think I need to do something to my desk chair here. It's a little lopsided.
Don't fall.
Loppy chair.
I mean,
sorry. I did almost fall there. That's why I brought that up.
Oh, Karen, I say it's going to take one good jump from Aurora to push you over.
You're right. Not even a good one. Such a fat piece of shit. Where is he, anyways? All right, anyways. Okay, so that's that.
Done deal.
That's the thing. See
where it goes. Spinning off the rest of our gaming side here, there's a bit of MMO news. Not that you exactly care anymore because you're way out of WoW, but it's funny. I found this neat tuning back in. There's a couple things on the docks. There's a WoW expansion. Of course, anybody who attended BlizzCon, or even before that, in fact, I mentioned this a couple of times in the show earlier on. That is the upcoming expansion for WoW. What was that? I almost said War for Battle for Azeroth.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, this is the only thing we have on it right now. It's still summer. Don't have a lockdown date on it, but the big selling point about this expansion was playing as an allied race.
They're adding a bunch of new races.
Yep. There's a series of incentives. Trying to put some pre-order incentives in play. In fact, one of them is, and I'm sitting here. I've got the boost off. The written wrong. The level boost all the way up to 110. That also world level scaling. This will be for all players, not just a pre-order incentive. And a new heritage armor for each allied race that you raise up to level 110. So Blizzard's trying to already start sweetening the deal, talking about this, at least getting it on the books. I'm sure those who are still heavily involved with WoW are, chomping at the bit, ready to get into this one. Never played WoW myself. Had a lot of buddies that played it. I missed FF11, a lot of the other things. I guess the MMO boat passed me over till I found FF14. Still playing right now. The other side, FF15, the single-player version, is finally about to hit for PC. Now, this has been out on console for a bit now, across PlayStation, across Xbox, but one of the issues with the original release was that you had the original game, and then you had the season passes for all the DLC. There were all these DLC side quests to the main characters. There was a story for Ignis, story for Prompto, story for Gladio, and you really had to just pick those up as you went along. So the good thing about this PC release, if you waited to play FF15, this is the time to do it. All that pre-order, I almost said pre-order.
Or not.
Or not. Or skip it. all the DLC stuff is going to, at least from the original release up to now, will be available in one bundle for you to grab, so you don't have to worry about running a million directions to do that.
Hey, you're a big RPG nerd. Square Enix recently released some new turn-based RPG. What was that? That actually looks pretty good. That's what I want. I saw that. I'm like, that actually looks pretty good. And I thought maybe it was like something that was going to be on my phone, and maybe it was an app with a whole bunch of microtransactions or something. But it's actually a full-on game.
Was it? I know there was one in development. Call it a couple actually. Are you thinking of I Am Setsuna or Project Setsuna?
That might be it.
Yeah.
Is that not out yet?
It is out. And that did get some pretty solid ratings. I didn't play it myself, but that one is out there. I mean, like I said, I've mainly been doing FF14. I haven't deviated too much besides that. There's a couple mobile things I tried out, but it's the last big thing. Cool.
I'm still looking here.
Yeah, I think turn-based is something that
Octopath Traveler?
That's in development. I didn't think that was out yet.
Okay, I think that's it.
Yeah, that has yet to come out. But that was
that is it.
Oh yeah, that's what you were looking at. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, that's still a working title right now. But I'm gonna zone in on that. I find that one pretty interesting because Square have been really careful about turn-based. Now, for the FF series, they've been leaning more towards
action
combat, and leaning away from turn-based instincts, having some of the elements of it, like maybe, selecting spells and stuff like that. But on the whole, I think there's a lot of the devs are saying, hey, this is kind of outdated. We should scale away from that, try to bring things up modern. But a lot of fans are like, oh, wait, hold up. Don't touch our turn-based. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Square Enix has been all about making their RPGs not RPGs.
Yep. Yep.
Which is why I haven't bought anything from them in a long time.
I get it, man. I get it. So that's FF7 remake. Eyes are on that. Although that's probably going to be an action RPG too, pretty much.
All eyes are on what?
FF7 remake. Because
there's not too many eyes on that.
For part 1, there'll be. I really think there'll be.
Look, I was going through YouTube the other day, and I came across a reaction video to the Final Fantasy VII trailer that they released. And so I'm watching the trailer, and I had seen this trailer before. It had been a while. It had been like something like 20 years. But no, it had legitimately been a couple years, though. And so I'm watching it, and it just looked bad. I don't mean to be that guy, because generally I give Square Enix a hard time, but it just looked choppy. The graphics didn't. They look great in comparison to 7, but they didn't look. I think what bothered me the most was the animation. The animation was really off. Like it was. I was kind of surprised they were showing it, because animations for characters and such were just really off, and the combat system looked really clanky. But I'm reading the comments, and I'm just like, everybody's loving this, and they're like, oh, you got it, can't wait. And I'm just like, they're like, oh my god. And I'm just like, it doesn't look that good. Do you know what trailer I'm talking about with the crappy animation?
I do. That's trailer 2. That's the actual gameplay. That's the only gameplay trailer we have.
Yeah. Right now. They had the gameplay, and it's just, it was. I'm just kind of like, I'm surprised they're showing you this. I really am, because it just didn't. It looked really choppy. And lighting effects were still very incomplete, and you could practically go blind when Cloud's running around and his sword is on his back, and when that reflection.
Oh, I was just about to cite that, and Midgar said that was blinding. Those flashes. So,
but for me, I'm just like, why are you showing me this? And that came out a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, it did. Been a bit. It's still super incomplete. I think people are bugging out so hard because there's a lot of people done so many playthroughs of FF7, and the thought of being able to finally traverse Midgar, actually having that is like a navigable space.
Is it Midgar? I always thought it was Midgard.
I've heard both.
Is that like an AT-AT thing?
more of the latter, because a lot of the a lot of the current content and stuff from 7, it's gone both ways. But I think you'd be okay.
Okay.
Either way, but man, even though you have something that unfinished, this blows people's minds. I think just being able to do that, because that's the thing everyone freaked out. I said, hey, pre-render graphics, that looks great, but I'd love to be able to explore this space. So I think that's really appealing to all the people who love world exploration, world building and stuff. Because I admit, Midgar is a pretty awesome space, and while I never
agreed.
Yeah, I never had the urge to be like, oh my gosh, I want to go through every slum. It's cool. You'll be able to access more of it.
And that'll be half of disc 1.
Yeah. After second boss,
and then disc 2 will be the other half. Whatever. Shit or get off the pod.
We're gonna have a lot more to talk about that when we actually have tangible news.
If we actually have a chance to do our Final Fantasy VII show, which we've known since before we started doing this show that we will do one, but we're waiting for them to tell us something about this game.
Hopefully, and we'll see what happens this year, man. Because 2017 had, let's see, a piece of key art and 2 screenshots.
Ooh.
Yeah, if I remember right.
Dude, I've seen more for Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
And that's never coming out. So
the white whale.
You're not doing anything for me.
No, it's not doing anything for me either. That's as someone who wants to see this. So, oh well, hey, is what it is. You know,
I'm buying the first disc. I've committed to the first disc.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Which is all they really want.
Happens when it happens. Last couple pieces of news. The Red Dead Redemption, it did get a release date in stone.
October
26th, coming out. Looking darn good. Again, Rockstar Games, I managed to keep Grand Theft Auto spending through all kinds of different incarnations, and I mean, Red Dead is a beast.
Have all your money saved up because you're going to spend it all on loot boxes.
Yep.
October 20th. I hear it's really, or October 26th. I hear it's really bad. I haven't played GTA 5, but I've been watching some stuff. I mean, obviously, microtransactions has been a huge topic, and just the blatant absurdity of microtransactions in Grand Theft Auto 5. So,
right.
Yeah. All right.
Well, here comes.
I shat all over that, dude. I'm sorry I did. I just took a dump all over you.
No. And the only last part I had about that was in an official statement, I think on their site, behind the release date, they said, "We apologize to everyone for the delay. We'd hoped to have it out sooner, but we required a little bit of extra time to polish. Thanks for your patience," so on and so forth. And then gave some extra screenshots, just showing off some of the environments and terrains and stuff. So, big anticipated game. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot on the review side for this one.
So when they say we apologize to everyone, is that in quotes? Because what they really mean is they apologize to their shareholders because they're not getting all that millions and millions of dollars that they expected to get from microtransactions.
About that.
Yeah.
About that.
We'll see. Maybe they'll change. Everything is still very much in the air about how companies and games are going to go moving forward with this. So,
it is.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No.
Love your games. You make the most horrible games ever. When I say that, I mean they're great games about horrible people doing horrible things,
which they do spectacularly well.
They are the best at making those games. I mean, that could almost be a show in itself.
It actually could. Keep that in the backlog. Keep that in your mind. All right. The last piece of news is an acquisition. Microsoft ate up PlayFab.
What's PlayFab?
So, there's a couple notes on the Microsoft site welcoming PlayFab to the quotes Microsoft family. What this is actually it's a platform. It's for the cloud connected games specifically.
Oh.
So, yep. It's for basically a platform.
Sounded familiar.
Yep. It provides the foundation to build, launch, and grow cloud games only. It was they've done a lot of work extensively with Microsoft before, but Microsoft went ahead and actually did the full acquisition to bring them into the fold. And you know how deeply vested Microsoft is in cloud technologies anyway, and moving more games and stuff towards that. So yeah, it's just it. It's just a short clip, but this is just another piece that you might at some point. I don't know how much, if any, of this will bleed into Xbox, but hey,
probably not. I mean, you said that they focus on games that are on clouds. They're server-based games, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess maybe, but generally those are cell phone games, generally speaking.
Right. Or it could be waiting for your VR overlords. I'm not going VR ever, by the way.
VR.
Yeah. No thanks. Oh man. Well, other than that, I'd say it's time for an info minute. All right, the info minute. This is all about I was gonna have a title on this next to you for this one, but you know what? I said I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm just gonna talk about it. Basic theme here is being reunited. This is for all the animal lovers out there. I don't.
That's me.
That's you. It's you. I don't own a dog or cat or anything myself, but I thought this was just really cool to read. And this was involved a family in Pennsylvania. So it turns out that Deborah Serveld, right, and her family.
Oh boy, now we're getting sued.
Yeah. Assume that their family dog, Abby, she'd been lost for 10 years. She ran away from home in 2008. They lived in Apollo, PA at the time, and they'd never seen her again. It assumed she just passed away, that she died. Turns out just this past weekend that they actually got a call from someone anonymous who actually believed they'd found their dog, which is a black lab mix. Showed up on someone's doorstep not too far away from their home, about 10 miles away. Sure enough, after they got in contact and actually managed to make the connections they needed to, it was their long lost dog. Someone had actually taken really good care of her over the years. She was still in great health and remembered all her tricks. Remembered everybody. Remembered how she would even sit in the family room, cross her paws, everything like that. So the rest of their family, and I think their daughter, who was the primary owner dog, she'd gone off to school, to college, and they called her, and they just ended up being reuniting, basically. And their daughter had first gotten this dog when she was 12. She's 22 now. And being able to come back and touch bases again, that's pretty cool. It's just don't give up. You never know.
So, I mean, how did they find this out? So this person, did they have the dog for most of the 10 years?
No. It turns out they actually weren't too certain where Abby had been in prior. They said recently the dog just actually came back recently, and then they said it was through her microchip. How they were actually able to search and find whose it actually was and who it belonged to. They found the posting about it, but no, it was not in his keeping the whole time. They're not too sure from when or from where, but that's just cool.
Yeah, well, good for them. So did they take the dog, or did they leave the dog with the gentleman or whoever had it then, or?
No, they took the dog
They
right
take
back.
the dog. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So cool.
Well, yeah, good for them.
Now
10 years.
That I started to think about that. I'm like, man. I mean, now help me out here, because I'm bad with this. Dog years and cat years. How much of a relation or non-relation do they have? Who's usually
dog
more
and cat
long
years
tooth?
is somewhere around 7 for that. Dogs are around 7, so that's 70 dog years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
The dog really didn't remember him at all. Just like, oh, hey, I remember. Looking at the other person, who the hell is that? Why do they have a leash?
Where was I again? Oh yeah, whatever. Oh man.
The one's hugging me too hard. Do something about this. Hi.
Oh man.
No, I'm sure dogs are going to remember. I don't know how long that was their dog before it went missing. So,
Right.
I mean, if it was for any significant amount of time, it's going to remember them unless it's a dumb dog. But yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And it's a lab, so it's probably not a dumb dog. Those are huge family dogs. So.
Pretty smart. And as far as what I've been reading, it seems that this is a dog they'd raised from a puppy. I'd seen. So.
Oh, that's good. I mean, after 10 years, for sure.
Yeah. Good on them.
Yeah, and they take the dog home, and the dog's like, all right, so where's all my stuff that I had? Say, I get all these, you say that was your dog, and I get all these things here. Where is it? You threw them all out. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, man.
Or it's, well, I thought that was my stuff. That other dog's in that. He's laying in my bed.
You gonna let him do that to me?
Right.
Man.
No.
Did I ever show you the raccoon taking the cat food, and the cat like swatting him on the head, and he just completely ignores
I've seen that.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, there's the two bowls, and he's taking it from the one bowl, and he's dipping it in the water, and he's just like, no, yeah, this is good. Yeah, no, I've seen it. And the cats at first are just like, what is this? What is this crap? And then they start moving in on him, and then he's like, all right, I'm out.
My favorite, there's another one where there's just there's only one bowl where he's stealing food from a cat, and the cat gets ticked off and starts batting him in the head. He just completely ignores the cat, and the cat just looks back at his owner like, you gonna let this happen, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Love it. Good stuff.
All right.
That's gonna do it for us this week.
That's the show.
That's a wrap. I'm not leaving that quick, I promise. Of course, stay tuned. We still got a whole lot as we mentioned at the start of our show, locked in on our calendar. Mainly, man, reviews from gaming to and everything. You got Shadow of the Colossus?
Shadow of the Colossus. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Next week. I checked it out today. It's got a 92 Metacritic right now.
92.
Yep.
Dang. That's awesome.
Not that you could have a 1 and I wouldn't care. It's Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
I have the PS3 remake. I have the PS2 game. That was the Armored Core killer, man.
Wow.
That took me away. That's so I'm excited. I'll be reviewing that. That should be out by the end of the week. Oh yeah.
Good stuff. And of course, we're going to be kicking off our road to Infinity War.
Yep,
coming
that's
up.
The thing.
We'll be talking about a lot of the movies that brought us to this point in the Marvel Universe, what they meant for not just the Avengers and the MCU teams, but what they're going to mean for going into the next Avengers movie and going forward.
Yep. Until that character's dead, and then we're gonna delete it off the website. And
done.
We're just gonna put up a screenshot with their face, and it's gonna have X'd out eyes. And their tongue sticking out.
I'm going to have you do all the professional burials. I like your style.
Oh, you mean the professional throw them in a dumpster?
Yeah. You're good at that. You remind me of...
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you see... do you remember... it's with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. It was... oh, man, it was that cop flick. I was about to say... I was sitting here about to say Gangs in New York.
Yeah, that
was
Michael Bay garbage. Yeah, I've seen him.
The Michael... No, not that. It was...
Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. Aren't those Michael Bay movies? Or at least the second one is.
Ah, man, there were two.
Yeah. Oh, Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. That's the one. It was in Bad Boys 1. There was... you remind me of the Russian club owner in that. This guy died... It was like... started seizing up due to like an overdose. He just got pissed off the guy was dying in his club and just told the guy, his bouncer, to drag him out and throw him out the street. And he did. And he left him.
Yeah, those are Michael Bay movies.
Okay. I did not know.
Are you surprised you like Michael Bay movies?
Yeah. I kind of am.
The first one's fun. First one's a classic. I've seen the second one, but it's not nearly as good. I know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. Yeah, you just remind me of that scene from Bad Boys Went Out of Nowhere. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Enjoy it. Whoever you're rooting for, we know who you're rooting for. Why am I even saying that?
Everybody's rooting for the Eagles.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. But till then, we'll catch you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in, and keep it locked right here. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, if you could throw some support, you can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, pick up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.